Into politics now, and that impending anniversary of the January 6th Capitol riot. The assault on the legislative branch of the U.S. government leading to hundreds of court cases and a congressional probe. ABC's Mary Alice Parks has a look at where these investigations stand nearly a year later.
One of the most photographed crime scenes in history has led to one of the largest law enforcement investigations ever. Many of the January 6th rioters filming their own alleged crimes, breaking into the U.S. Capitol, assaulting officers, breaching the hollowed chambers of Congress. But many that day also walked away back to their hometowns, where local FBI and police, aided by social media, tracked them down. According to an ABC News count, 703 cases have been brought related to the attack that day. Approximately 165 individuals have pleaded guilty. The Justice Department focusing first on cases easier to prove, and now zeroing in on more serious offenses, extreme acts of violence, conspiracy, and organization.
What the FBI is doing is they're going through who were the hang-alongs, who were the minor players in this. And they're trying to weed them out of this so that they can focus on the major players.
The Select Committee set up in the House, casting a wide net in its own investigation, conducting more than 300 interviews, subpoenaing 19 former Trump officials and tens of thousands of documents. Moving forward, Chairman Benny Thompson not ruling out formally requesting House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy sit for an interview this year, too. McCarthy has said he has nothing to add. The question now, where will the investigation lead? And could the former president's family be subpoenaed too? Members of the committee saying it's crucial their work account for the events of that fateful day, as well as the weeks leading up to it, and any effort to inspire the attack or overturn the election results.
There was pressure placed on state election officials, such as in Georgia. There were attempts to change out the leadership positions within the Department of Justice in order to influence it. I feel like this was an attempt at a coup, which fortunately failed.
Now, members of the Select Committee say they plan to release formal recommendations about how to safeguard against an attack like this in the future. And members say they feel pressure to finish that work quickly, in part because they are aware that if Republicans take control of the House, the committee could be disbanded. Janae?
And those images just as startling as they were a year ago. Mary Alice, thank you so much. And let's bring in ABC News political director Rick Klein to talk about this. Rick, here we are just days away from the anniversary of the January 6th attack at the Capitol. Any security concerns surrounding that anniversary on Thursday?
Janae, that is a number and a date that has been circled on the calendar for a long time. There, of course, are concerns. There are no specific threats that have been reported, no expectation of a rally or anything like that. But we know how quickly events can get out of hand. So security officials say they're ready. They're also going to be putting into place some of the changes, some of the new protocols to bring in more individuals on a faster basis if necessary. One of the shortcomings of a year ago was just how slowly it took to dissipate that angry and violent crowd.
And shortcoming certainly paints the picture there, Rick. Now, baseless claims about the 2020 election largely inspired those riots at the Capitol last year, but also changes to voting laws in a number of states. That could have a big impact as we're now in a midterm year. Explain that to us.
The very structure of voting has changed in this country in a substantial way just in the last year. 19 states have put new laws onto the books that make it harder to vote or change the voting processes in a way that adds a burden for many, many voters. So this is not just an academic argument. Many of those laws were inspired by the lies that President Trump and his supporters told. Others were just sort of straightening up some loose ends after the COVID era. But make no mistake, people are going to be voting differently, including in some very big states like Georgia, Texas, Florida, Arizona. Big changes on the books. People have to do their homework and figure out how those changes will affect them. And keep in mind, Janae, we're already in it. The first voting of 2022, believe it or not, is going to be taking place in Texas just next month in advance of their March 1st primary.
Like you said, people have to do their homework, and voting rights will remain in the spotlight as we head into the midterms. Rick, thank you so much. And be sure to watch This Week. Later this morning, George Stephanopoulos goes one-on-one with Dr. Anthony Fauci about the record-breaking level of COVID cases. Plus, Representatives Liz Cheney and Benny Thompson discuss the next phase of their investigation in Congress on those January 6th riots.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.